Hello, welcome to my channel and welcome to my website. My name is Daryl and this is Programming in Any Language. The website is www.black-duck.com. It's where you'll find all my videos organized in logical order. You can begin with the basics and then move on to advanced concepts. You can also start with a speed track and build an application from scratch, which should pique your curiosity with a desire to learn more. Driver information time. This is different than track info because for each track we have a number of drivers in each race. Many drivers to put in. So we need to collect the information for each driver. Best way to do that at this time is to use the list box. That way we can calculate the MPH and the KPH for each driver and save that info with the name to the list box. When we're done entering all driver information, we will then be in a position to save all the info to disk. But not until we enter this information. This is how we'll do it. Okay, the next step is we're going to key in the driver data, or they put in the programming for the driver piece of this thing. As you can see, when you have a plan and you've got it structured in such a way as you enter track information, you enter driver information, then you do the list box pieces here, you can take these things a piece at a time and then program them. And if you need to make changes, you can as you go along. But having this initial plan in place, even though it might be rough, might not be perfect, it's certainly the way to go. It's certainly going to help you as you move into this. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we've got our driver data in place. It's safely sitting out in variables in our system. And it's turning on this piece right here so we can actually go in and add our information. What's happening when we actually do this? What do we have to be concerned about? Well, we need to write this so that when we enter the driver information and 3.4, whatever, 5.2, 50, and then save, it opens up this area and gets us ready to go. So we're going to be able to key in this information now and get this stuff ready. So let's go ahead and do that. How do we do that? Well, it's all a function of the add button, really, when you start thinking about it. If we look at this, we're in this thing, it's open, and we have our text information sitting on the driver. And when we hit add or clear, clear is going to wipe everything out. But add is going to take this data and do something with it. So it's all going to be a function of the add button as we actually write this piece. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and we'll open up we'll double click on the add button to get that thing going, and that'll create our event. And there's our event, add driver. Okay, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at we need a driver information, we need minutes, into hours, in minutes, in seconds, things of that thing, or maybe double seconds because we're going to be using point on that. So let's go up to our variable section up here and put those things in place. We're going to need that driver data. So what are we going to need for the driver? Well, we're going to need str driver. So string str driver. And this will be the name of the driver. Then we're going to add int hours. Finish time hours. Int minutes. And this would be finish time minutes. Fix this misspelling right up here. And then finally, a double seconds. DOUBLE, DBL, SECONDS. And that will be the finish time seconds. We need this to be a double because we're actually going to bring in decimal places. They go down to the hundreds. You know, it might be 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 6.5 seconds or something of that nature. So we need a double there to hold that data. We also need then the finish time, So we're going to create a double for finish time. DBL finish. And this will be our calculated finish time in hours. We need that because we're trying to figure out kilometers per hour, miles per hour. So we do need the hours. And it's going to end up being, 1.65 hours, something of that nature. We're going to need an average kilometers. So that's a double. DBL. DBL average kph. And this will be calculated average kilometers per hour. And the double DBL average MPH, which would be the calculated average miles per hour. This won't be difficult math. We're just doing some dividing here. Oops, I don't have the double in there. Fix that little guy. That looks better. Okay. Now we'd also like the string version of this. So we're going to put this in a list box to hang on to for display later. So string str average kph. String version. And string str average MPH. String version. Then we need string str driver data. Driver data for this box. I'm thinking we need that. We may not, but I'm putting it in place right now because I think we're going to end up putting that. But we might not because we're actually going to put the name, the driver information, and the kilometers per hour in there. So we probably don't need that right now. So let's go back to our add button. Easiest way is just to click out to it and hit it. And what are we going to do? It's going to be handled similarly to the way we handled the track information. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to say if txt driver dot text is not equal to quote quote, we're going to go ahead and do something. However, if it is equal to spaces or even something else, we're going to issue a message. What's that message going to be? That message is going to be messagebox.show please enter a driver name. Then we're going to take the driver.text and make it equal to nulls, and we're going to take the txt driver dot focus and set the user up there. However, if it is good, we can go ahead and look at our next if statement, and that'll be with take the driver and make that equal to txt driver.text because we successfully got it, and then we can say if int dot try parse txt hours.text. Out, we want to put it into not number of laps. Sometimes it isn't so helpful when you use IntelliSense. We want to put it into int hours. Oops. And then we want to put in a set of braces. And if it's good, we want to do something good. Otherwise, we're going to have our error message again. I like to do these error messages first. It gets them out of the way, and it kind of forms this arrow, that validation arrow, that when you finally have all your checks done, the arrow is pointing to the data that's going to actually do the processing of the good data that comes through. So we're looking at this, and what happens if we end up with bad driver data? And that's going to be messagebox.show. And it's going to be invalid finish time hours. And txt hours dot text is going to be equal to quote quote. Well, we got a bunch of them in there, didn't we, this time? 2 is all we need. And txt hours dot focus. And that puts that in place. Great. Doing so far so good. Now we're going to look at the good spot right here. We're checking. We're going to do another test here. This time we're going to say if int hours is greater than or equal to 0 and int hours is less than or equal to 3, we're in good shape. Otherwise, we have a problem. Why between 0 and 3? Because the race is only going to last 1 or 2 hours. That's as far as they're going to go. So this leaves us time to get that in there. It could be 0 too, that they're actually in there. But this will be fine. This is what it's going to be like. And so we're going to say messagebox messagebox.show invalid finish time hours must be 0, 1, or 2. txt hours dot text equal to quote quote txt hours dot focus. It's got it. It knows what we're doing. It's in pretty good shape. Now we look at our minutes. Go up here and we can say if int minutes. No, int try parse. We need to bring it in first. Int try parse dot try parse txt minutes dot text out int minutes out int int minutes. And we'll set up our braces. If that's correct, good things will happen. If not, bad things will happen, and we need to tell somebody about it. So we'll look at our try parse minutes, and we're looking at message box dot show invalid finish time minutes. And txt minutes.text is equal to quote quote txt minutes.text, or focus rather. That's correct. We're going to check the focus on that thing. Well, that got our minutes are in there. Now we can take a look at the range on the minutes. So we're going to say if int minutes is greater than 0, and int minutes is less than less than 59, less or equal to 59, we're in good shape. Again, if it's not, we have a problem. We set up this particular verification, or we say that message box. Actually, why don't I'm gonna cheat a little bit here, and I'm gonna grab this, pop it in here, and then just tweak this particular thing and put in here must be 0 through 59 and leave it at that. So that puts that in place. That's great. Okay, that worked just fine. Now we're going to go up here, and if our minutes were good, we can check our seconds. So we need to bring that in. If do double.tryparse, and that's txt seconds.text out. A double will be dbl seconds, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think that's it. And oops, put a semicolon there. Oh no, brackets there. I'm sorry, we don't want that here. We want that here. It becomes brackets. If it's good, we do this kind of stuff. If it's not, we have another error. LESC, got to put a message box in for that. And this time we can say message box dot show invalid finish time seconds. Put a semicolon in there, and txt seconds dot text is equal to quote quote, and txt seconds dot focus. That puts us in a good place there. So again, we're in great shape. But now we can look at the range on our seconds. If dbl seconds is greater than or equal to 0, and dbl seconds is less than or equal to actually 60.0, good things can happen. Otherwise, we need to tell it something. We'll steal the code from here, pop it in here, and put a semicolon after this message and say must be 0.00 through 59.9999. But if it's good, we can calculate finish time in hours we can also calculate average KPH. We can also calculate average MPH, and then we can add it to the list box, list boxes, and then we can ready for next entry. What are we going to do there? Well, let's take a look at it. So those will be all the pieces we're going to need here. So how do we calculate the finish time hours? Well, the finish time hours is actually dbl finish time is going to be equal to int hours times 3600. That's how many seconds are in an hour. Plus int minutes, how many seconds in a minute, times 60. Plus dBl seconds. And then divide that by 3600. That's going to give us our finish time in hours. Next thing we do, we calculate the average kph, kilometers per hour. dBl average kph is going to be equal to the dBl race length in k, race length k divided by dBl finish time. And let's put the string on that thing right too. The string average kph is going to be equal to dBl average to string. That converts to a string variable. Miles per hour, pretty much the same deal. dBl average mph is equal to dBl race length in miles divided by finish time. And string average miles per hour is going to be equal to dBl average miles to string, dBl average mph to string, and leave it at that. That converts that thing. Now we can add to the list box. What do we want to add to the list box? Well, if we look at that, we want to add the driver data, which is name, and the kilometers per hour and the miles per hour. So we'll just jump in and do that. Now all we have to do is say LBX driver data dot items dot add str driver. See, no formatting. That's why I kind of made a string variable of this thing right away to get that out of the way. Otherwise, I could have used the double and just made it just two string here and done that kind of stuff. LBLX kph data dot items dot add, not str driver, str average kph, and LBX mph data dot items dot add string average mph. And that concludes that piece. All you have to do now is ready for the next entry, which is going to be txt driver dot text is equal to nulls. Txt minutes dot text is equal to nulls. Txt, they got hours in there? Well, seconds we need to do. Seconds dot text is equal to hours. And just to be consistent and put our hours up here. We didn't do the hour piece. Txt hours dot text is equal to semicolon. Whoops. Semicolon. Puts that in place. And of course, we need to set the focus of the driver. Txt driver dot focus. And that almost does it for us. You know, this is pretty complete. I'll save it here. But what's going to happen is we have to take a look and see what we need to turn on as well when we actually get into this thing. So when we get into the first time, we hit that add button for the first time, we need to turn something on. So let's take a look at that and see how that works. We'll run it program comes up, we'll do the data entry piece. We'll put in Bahrain, RAIN. We'll put a 5.412. That actually is the length. 3.363 is the miles we'd have there. We'd have 57 laps in this particular race. We do a save. That opens up our driver information. Now we can do Max Verstappen. Not sure if I got the spell right. That's okay. We'll say it was 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 54.34 seconds. Hit the add button on that, and it puts it up into the area. But it didn't do the calculation. It looks like it screwed up this piece here. So we have a problem there. Well, to figure out why we have that problem. But it did clear everything off. We also didn't turn these two things on. So we want to turn these two things on so we can do a save when we're actually ready to do that. So let's go ahead and take this item here, the delete selected item, and let's turn that on. And also let's figure out why we didn't get this out to the list box properly. So we'll go back and end this thing and go to our add button. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to turn on those two buttons actually right in here where we have good code in here. As long as we're doing that, we can certainly make sure that thing's on. Let's just say turn on save and list box maintenance button, and that would be simply saying that we want the btn delete select the item dot enabled is equal to true now, because we want to be able to make maintenance changes, and we'll have to code that. And we also want to take button save, I believe it is, save race data. Not liking that. Okay, let's try this again. btn save. There it is, race data dot enabled. That's also going to be true. That fixes that thing. But let's find out what's going on. Why didn't we actually take the string average kph and mph? Oh, I can see. No, I don't see why. Double average kph is right here, dbl. Let's put in a breakpoint and find out why. We're going to have to take a look at that. So let's do it here instead at the calculation of the finish time and see what's going on here. So we'll debug this thing and find out what our problem is. There it is. So start. Let's get rid of these things. I want the space. I want the real estate here. I don't want to deal with anything like that. So let's go ahead and try this again. And program comes up. We'll go ahead and do a data entry. Put in our Bahrain. Put in our 5.412 and our 3.363 and our 57 laps. I hit the save button. Opens this up. We'll just put in max in here. I'll put 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 33.3 seconds. Hit the add button, and let's see what it does now. Our finish time is sitting right here. It's at 0. Once I hit the F11 key, I can track that, and my finish time is now 1.50925 hours. That's great. And that means my finish time is going to be here. Okay, it is there, and it is here. So we've got that stuff in place. What about my race length? Where is that? It's 0. That's our problem. So we never actually calculated the race length. That's interesting. So that's our problem. So we're getting 0 divided by the finish time, and that's causing our problem. So DBL race length is not being calculated. Where do we calculate that? Let's turn this thing off. Stop our debugging. And I suspect that was done up on the driver in the track data, where we're getting our race length K sitting up here. So let's take a look and see where that is. If we go to our design and we look at our save button up here, our race length K is right here. So is this actually being calculated? Again, a breakpoint goes in. And let's start this thing again and see if we're actually having this. Bahrain. 5.412, 3.363, and 57 for laps. Save. That stops it right here. We're looking at number of laps is 0. So it's a lap problem is our problem here. We're not bringing in the lap piece, really. Number of laps. In try-parse, out. DBL number of laps. So the text is going into this DBL number of laps. You know what? It's an integer, isn't it? That's our problem. Int number of laps. This should be int number of laps. Because if we look at our variable, int number of laps. Yeah, I don't have a double number of laps. So the only problem then is simply that I messed up when I actually put this in, and I put my variable down a double number of laps. I wonder why I didn't get an error on that. I must have had the variable in there. Back this up, int. That get rid of our breakpoint. We don't need that anymore. We're now getting this double number of laps needs to be changed to int number of laps. That corrects that little piece. I don't see any other errors. No, I don't see any errors. We'll get them down here if we do have some errors here. No issues found, it also says. Let's do a file save. Let's do a stop our debugging and start the program over again to do this test. And see if this works. Go to our data entry screen. Put in Bahrain. 5.412. You get to memorize your text data after a while. Number of laps 57. Save. We're now into this area here, so we're now typing max. We're typing 1 hour, 30 minutes, 53.32 seconds. That's fine. And do an add on this, and we got it. We have this right up here with our string. Might want to have a little more room so we can actually see this if we're looking at the miles per hour, how we're actually formatting. Also, we want to think about how we do want to format it. Do we want 2-digit decimal places or what? We might want to just go to 2-digit decimal places and put a formatting in there when we actually make go to string. But there it is. And it's set up for this guy right here. Let's put a next guy. And we'll put in 1 hour, 20 minutes. Oh, actually, it's got to be longer. It doesn't have to be longer. 3.333 seconds. Hit the add, and that person goes in there. We don't have this set up, so I can't actually delete an item. I can highlight it, but I can't delete it yet, so we'll need to program this thing. And the save isn't done yet, so we'll need to actually do that thing. But so far, we've got this thing in pretty good shape right now. So let's kill this. Let's get ready to do the next programming piece. It is typical when your project gets larger that you run into issues. That was apparent when we had a 0 going into our KPH and MPH list boxes. There was a problem. Having a good handle on how to use a debugger, however, can save tons of time when checking the code to see what's wrong. It certainly helped in this application. But now we have all the data in place. Saving that data to disk is all part of the process. That will be covered in the next video. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to use the website for easy access to all my videos. And if you get a chance, please subscribe. That way, you'll be notified when something new is available. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.